The psychology of people who don't post their photos on social media. 90% of the people scrolling through Instagram right now will never post a single thing. Not today, not this week, probably not this year. Internet researchers have a name for this group: lurkers. And the psychology behind their silence is more interesting than anyone admits. Once you sit with that 90% for a second, the question stops being why don't they post and starts being something else entirely. Because if 90% of users don't post, you're not the weird one. You're the majority. And there's actually a name for what's going on with you. 3 names, technically. 3 psychological profiles for people who don't post their photos online, only one of which is genuinely healthy. The other 2 are wounds dressed up as wisdom. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which one is you. And you might not love the answer. This is part of a series I'm doing on the hidden psychology of how we use the internet. If you've been here before, you know what we do. If you're new, you're in the right place. I want to start with something I keep seeing in the comments under videos like this. There's one comment with around 7,300 likes. 6 words. Privacy is power. They can't ruin what they can't see. 7,000 people read that and went, yes. Finally. Another comment had 28,000 likes. It was a question: what kind of world do we live in where not showing your face to the entire internet is considered weird? 28,000 people raising their hands saying, I've been wondering the same thing. So if you've ever felt slightly off in the room because you don't have an Instagram grid, or you haven't posted in 2 years, hear this clearly. You're not the outlier. You're part of a quietly massive group, and what the research actually shows about you is way more interesting than what people assume. Let's start with what posting actually is. Sociologist Goffman wrote about this in 1959, long before Instagram existed. He called it impression management. Every interaction we have with another human is, in some sense, a performance. We're managing how we want to be seen. But here's what Goffman couldn't predict. Social media took impression management, something that used to happen in passing, with people who actually knew you, and turned it into a 24/7 stage with strangers. A permanent record, a scoreboard. And here's the part that should disturb you. Most of us never agreed to play this game. We just woke up one day inside it. Think about the last photo you almost posted. You probably adjusted the lighting, picked the best angle out of 7, wrote a caption, deleted it, rewrote it, spent 3 or 4 minutes on something that, in person, would have been a glance. That's not sharing. That's labor, cognitive labor, and your nervous system feels every minute of it. So what kind of person opts out of that labor entirely? That's where it gets interesting. Profile 1. Call them the privacy protectors. These are people with what psychologist Jennifer Campbell, University of British Columbia, 1996, called self-concept clarity. Translated into English: they know who they are, and they don't need 300 strangers to confirm it. For privacy protectors, posting a photo doesn't feel like sharing. It feels like exposure. It feels like handing something intimate to an audience that hasn't earned it. They're not antisocial. They have deep relationships. They just decided their inner life isn't a product the internet needs. Now, fair warning. Profile 1 people sometimes get a little smug about this. They start treating their privacy like it's a personality trait. It's not. It's just one of 3 options. And believe me, Profile 1 isn't automatically the best one. If you're a privacy protector, you're probably nodding right now. But Profile 2 is going to be uncomfortable. And Profile 3? Most people get wrong about themselves, including, possibly, you. I'm going to pause here for a second, because most psychology videos online would tell you that anyone who doesn't post is automatically enlightened, evolved, some kind of digital monk who figured out the matrix. That's not true. And if I told you that, I'd be lying to you for engagement. Profile 2 is the one most creators don't talk about because it's not flattering. But you deserve the truth. Here it is. Profile 2. Call them the hiders. Some people don't post because they're afraid. Not afraid of privacy violations, afraid of being judged. Afraid no one will respond. Afraid the photo will perform badly and confirm what they already worry is true. Afraid of what people will think of their face, their life, their everyday afternoon. There's a comment under one of these videos with 550 likes. It just says, reason number 3, I'm ugly. Underneath, dozens of people responded with same and real. And me too. That isn't a joke. That's gallows humor. People laughing because crying about it feels like too much. If you've ever felt that, even once, even for a second, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not weak. You're not broken. Your nervous system is protecting you from a system that's measurably hostile to non-curated lives. A meta-analysis published in 2023 confirmed what you already feel, that exposure to what researchers call upward social comparison, basically, scrolling past people who seem to be winning at life, has a measurable, negative effect on self-esteem, especially in women. The system is built to make you feel insufficient. Hiding from it isn't a character flaw. It's a survival response. But I'm not going to romanticize it either. Profile 2 is a wound, and wounds don't heal by being relabeled. Okay, take a breath with me. That was a lot. Now let's talk Profile 3. Profile 3. Call them the Liberated. These are people who used to care about external validation, and somewhere along the way, stopped needing it. Researchers call this autonomy from external validation. It comes from self-determination theory, developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. Their theory says humans need 3 things to thrive: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Most social media users are trying to meet those needs through likes, comments, and follower counts. People in Profile 3 found a different way. They built deep relationships offline. They do work that doesn't need an audience. They have a stable sense of self that doesn't fluctuate with engagement. They're not anti-platform, they just stopped letting the platform decide their worth. Now here's the part most creators won't tell you. Psychology has a name for what you might be tempted to do right now: self-enhancement bias. When people self-assess, we reliably reach for the most flattering label available. That's not a flaw. It's how self-perception works under pressure. So if you're already telling yourself your Profile 3, pause. The temptation to grab the healthiest label is itself part of the pattern. Healing doesn't come from picking the right label. It comes from being honest about which one is actually you. Today, even if today's answer isn't flattering. Profile 3 isn't superior. It's earned. And it's earned through doing the work, not through avoiding the platform. Here's where this stops being theory. In 2018, Dr. Melissa Hunt and her team at the University of Pennsylvania ran the first experimental study, not a survey, experimental on social media and well-being. 143 college students, randomly assigned. Half kept doom scrolling like nature intended. The other half got rationed 10 minutes per platform per day. 3 weeks of that. After 3 weeks, the limited group showed significant reductions in both depression symptoms and loneliness, especially in students who started the study with high baseline depression. The findings were published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology. That's the actual data, not influencer claims. Experiment. And it's a result big tech doesn't print on their landing page. I wonder why. And it's not just that one study. Here's an experiment that messed me up when I read it. In 2014, a researcher named Linda Henkel at Fairfield University took college students to an art museum. To some of them, she said, "Just look at the art, walk through, take it in." To others, "Take photos, document everything." Next day, she tested their memory of what they'd seen. The students who took photos remembered less detail, less of the experience, less of the layout of the museum itself. The camera kept the picture. The memory leaked out. Henkel called it the photo-taking impairment effect, which is a clinical way of saying your phone is eating your life, one quiet moment at a time. And the effect's been replicated since, including a 2022 study showing that even taking multiple photos doesn't fix it. The memory still leaks. So when people in Profile 1 and 3 look psychologically stable, it's not coincidence. They're not feeding the comparison engine. They're not training their brain to outsource memory to a camera roll. They're just here, present, living a Tuesday afternoon that doesn't need to be witnessed to count. I'll be honest with you for a second. When I started looking into this, really looking, not just collecting research, I had to admit I wasn't quite where I thought I was. I'd been telling myself a story. The story was that I didn't post much because I was evolved, because I'd outgrown the need for validation, because I was busy doing more important things. That story wasn't entirely a lie, but it wasn't entirely true either. Part of me was just exhausted, tired of curating, tired of the small dopamine drop when a post underperformed, tired of feeling slightly worse after every scroll. The evolved story was easier to tell myself than the tired and a little scared story, because I was using privacy as a costume. When I admitted that when I stopped lying to myself about which profile I was actually in, something shifted. I'm not going to pretend I figured it all out. But the lying to myself part stopped. That was the beginning. So if you've been nodding along, I want you to do something uncomfortable. Don't immediately tell yourself you're profile 3. That's the trap. Almost everyone thinks they're profile 3 on the first watch. Instead, ask yourself this. The last time you felt the urge to post and didn't, what stopped you? Was it because you genuinely didn't need to share it? Or because you were afraid no one would care? Both answers are valid. But they require different paths forward. Profile 1 and 3 don't need to do anything. Profile 2. And there's no shame in this. Profile 2 needs healing, not platform avoidance. Because hiding from social media isn't the same as making peace with being seen. You can't outrun the thing that's making you hide. You have to build the part of yourself that doesn't need to. Here's where we are. In a world that's gotten louder every year, where every meal is a photo opportunity, and every grief gets a hashtag choosing not to broadcast, has become quietly radical. Not radical because it's brave. Radical because it's rare. In a world that has monetized your attention, your face, your identity, and your unremarkable Wednesday morning, keeping something for yourself is one of the last forms of resistance you have left. You don't owe anyone a documentation of your life. Instagram doesn't need proof you exist. The algorithm doesn't need free access to your face. The most valuable thing you have right now isn't your follower count. It's your interiority, the part of you that no algorithm can reach. That's the thing worth protecting. Before I let you go, one experiment. Just for you, right now. Think about the last moment that genuinely moved you. A laugh with someone you love. A meal that tasted like home. A sunset that actually stopped you for a second. Did you photograph it? And here's the harder question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Do you remember it more clearly because you took the photo? Or did the photo replace the memory? Henkel's research suggests it's the second one. Most of the time, it's the second one. And once you know that, you can't unknow it. So next time, you'll know what you're trading for. Before you close this video, 3 tools you can actually use, all based on the research, all free. 1. The 30-minute rule. Hunt's study used 10 minutes per platform. If that feels too aggressive, start with 30 minutes total per day. Set a timer. The mood improvements show up around the 3-week mark. 2. The zoom-in hack. Henkel's research found the photo-taking impairment effect disappears when you zoom in on a specific detail instead of capturing the whole scene. So, if you have to take the picture, zoom in. Your memory will thank you. 3. The boring one. Just turn on screen time on your phone. Don't change anything. Just look at the number once a day for a week. Hunt's data shows the awareness alone reduces anxiety. You don't need willpower. You need information about yourself. In the comments, drop a number. How many months has it been since you posted a photo of yourself? I read every one. We're trying to count the silent majority. 90% of you are out there. It's time we knew. And if you want next week's video where I break down the 3 platforms specifically designed to keep Profile 2s stuck, subscribe. I'll meet you there. One last thing. If Profile 2 hurt to recognize, please reach out. A therapist, a friend, or 988. There's no shame in asking for help. There's courage in it. That's it. See you in the next video.